In the vast tapestry of life, we often find ourselves at emotional crossroads where anger and compassion vie for control of our actions. But what happens when we allow one of these emotions to overshadow the other? In today's video, we'll dive into an ancient tale of a sage and his eagle, a narrative that teaches us about the power of emotions and the choices we make. Through this parable, we'll explore the consequences of our actions and the importance of reflecting on our decisions. So, brace yourself for a journey of self-discovery and find out, which door will you choose to open? Curiosity began to spread among the village inhabitants. Many, intrigued by the presence of the sage and his unusual winged companion, approached cautiously, trying to cast discreet glances in their direction. However, the sage, engrossed in his own thoughts, seemed oblivious to the growing attention. The eagle, on the other hand, remained vigilant, watching every movement around with piercing eyes. As time passed, the villagers' empathy overcame their initial curiosity. Realizing that the sage and his eagle appeared vulnerable, without a proper place to shelter, they began to bring food and offer refuge. With every act of kindness, the sage, with his serene expression, conveyed his gratitude, while the eagle, in her silent way, seemed to express thanks as well. As night drew near, enveloping the village in a cloak of darkness, a peasant, driven by an inner turmoil, decided to approach the spot where the sage and his eagle were camped. With a respectful nod, he greeted the sage, who, sensing the man's presence, turned towards him. "Is there something I can assist you with?" the sage inquired in a gentle voice. The peasant hesitated for a moment before confessing that he had a question that plagued him. He had heard rumors of the old man's wisdom and hoped to find answers to his doubts. The sage, with a contemplative look, replied, "No one holds such wisdom that they can answer all questions, but if it's within my power to help, I surely will." With a grave expression and inquisitive gaze, the peasant shared his deep concern. He voiced his burning desire to understand the celestial mechanisms that would allow one to open the gates of heaven and, at the same time, seal the doors of hell. His longing was clear. He yearned for the divine grace of heaven and wanted to avoid the torments of hell at all costs. Thus, he sought knowledge about how these mystical doors operated. As the peasant spoke, both the sage and his eagle remained immersed in contemplative silence, absorbing every word. Upon the peasant's conclusion, the sage, with a tone of surprise, exclaimed, "What a peculiar inquiry! From your question, it's evident you still have much to learn." The sage's words, laden with reproof, ignited the peasant's temper, who, in a surge of anger, moved to confront the old man. However, the eagle, ever watchful, swiftly intervened, shielding her companion. It was then that the peasant had a revelation. The sage was blind, and the eagle served as his eyes, guiding him through the world. A wave of remorse and shame flooded the peasant's heart, realizing the injustice of his aggressive impulse against such a vulnerable man. His anger evaporated, replaced by profound compassion. He sincerely apologized, and the sage, with wisdom and grace, responded, "Your anger almost led you to the gates of hell, but your compassion now draws you closer to the gates of heaven." And what lesson can we draw from this narrative? The truth is, many of us face similar dilemmas in our lives. How often do we allow ourselves to be overtaken by anger, letting it cloud our judgment and cause us to miss valuable opportunities for growth and learning? The sage, in his boundless wisdom, firstly, let's consider the relationship between the sage and his eagle. This was not merely a relationship of dependency, but a symbiotic partnership. The eagle, with its keen sight, symbolized clarity of purpose and the ability to see beyond the obvious. In contrast, the sage, even without his physical vision, possessed a sharp inner perception. Together, they show us that true vision goes beyond what our eyes can perceive. It lies in the ability to understand and interpret the world around us. Next, let's reflect on anger. Anger is a potent emotion, often a response to feelings of powerlessness or injustice. However, when we allow it to dominate us, we lose the ability to think and act rationally. The peasant, realizing the error of his impulsive judgment, teaches us the importance of self-reflection and self-control. Furthermore, the story underscores the significance of compassion. In a world where anger and judgment are frequent, compassion becomes a healing balm. It allows us to see past our differences and recognize the shared humanity among us all. The sage's solitude is also noteworthy. In an age of constant connectivity and distractions, finding moments of solitude has become a challenge. Yet, it's in this quietness that we often find clarity and perspective. Solitude offers us a necessary break from the hustle and bustle of the outside world, allowing us to reconnect with our inner self. The statement about having fewer friends and finding happiness in solitude doesn't suggest that we should isolate ourselves. Instead, it implies that the quality of connections is more important than quantity. It's better to have a few genuine friends than many superficial acquaintances. Furthermore, the story reminds us of life's impermanence. Just like the sage and his eagle, we all have a limited time in this world. Instead of getting lost in negative emotions and trivial conflicts, we should focus on what truly matters. The sage's humility is also a valuable lesson. In a world that often values pride and ostentation, the sage's humility serves as a reminder that true wisdom often lies in simplicity. Lastly, the story encourages us to be more receptive and open to learning. Every person we meet, whether a sage or a peasant, has something unique to teach us. If we approach each interaction with an open mind and a heart willing to learn, our journey through life will be enriched in unimaginable ways. In conclusion, the tale of the sage and his eagle is not just a simple parable, but a rich tapestry of lessons and insights. May we carry these lessons with us and apply them in our daily journey, always seeking wisdom, compassion, and genuine connection. Now, 2 videos will appear on the screen, and surely one of them will prompt you to reflect deeply on life and your evolution as a human being. Until the next video.